orange juice. It's like everything you've ever known that's good for you.
It's fabulously freaky. It's completely crazy.
What's up, guys? I am super excited to, holy cow, welcome all the new Artemers out there. I am so grateful for all of you who subscribed and want to join us back again. Today I wanted to talk about the senior thesis with philosophy seniors of the undergraduate bachelor's program. Okay, so my senior thesis class, the capstone, right now we are sitting between the first draft and the final draft. I'm still waiting to hear about comments from both my professor and a peer reviewer, and I will admittedly say I am not finished with my paper, but I'm about 10 pages written so far, so that's something, right? Basically today what I wanted to talk about was how I arranged writing my paper, and I would gladly say I'm pretty proud of it, but it was weird, so I'm excited to share it. And because it's a weird way to arrange something and come to something, that's why I wanted to share it, so thank you for joining. Where to start? My idea for my senior thesis came to me throughout my whole life, basically. Like you watch and you learn and you read and you think, and you basically come to your own conclusions about some things. And so you pick one of those and you then write about it. One of my friends is writing about something I've never even heard of, which is like the philosophy of luck. Or another one who's writing about the philosophy in horror movies, or the entire world of art and aesthetics. Really, they're all crazy and great. Very creative, for sure. But I am much more of a political philosopher, is what I found here. And I wrote about how it's frickin' possible to do anything nowadays. Basically exactly what I tell you guys all the time. And my professor, during my presentation about all my ideas, said, I'm frickin' more depressing than Schopenhauer. That honestly was pretty darn hilarious. But anyways, so what we had to do first was write a proposal. My professor didn't give us any sort of direction here, but basically what it said online was to write a solid 2 pages, double-spaced, 5-ish hundred words of your plan, what it's gonna be, what from the front to the end is going to be. Basically here, I pretty much had to get over the fact that life's not a surprise party. You're pretty much just gonna spoil the ending for your professor right then and there, but that's okay. That's like the point of the whole thing. Sometimes you don't get to surprise someone with a great, fantastic idea. But then there you go, right there in the proposal. They'll find it, they'll see it, you're over that. The very first thing we had to do was make a whole presentation of all of our ideas accumulated together, then present it to the entire class. For the entire course period, like an hour, 15 minutes, most of the kids were like, chime in, whatever you want, just like ask a question. But when it came to me, I was like, wait till the end, then we'll get to the questions. Let me do my whole spiel real quick, because everything's gonna be weird if you interrupt me. A lot of the slides seem totally like discombobulated at first, but once you get to the end, then I think, or at least I attempted to, make everything come together. So I wanted to show you the slides that I made and presented to the entire class. First, we have our title page, Making the Overman Possible. And then we have a little link here. The first 2 minutes of class, I had everyone watch the only speech in Fight Club that Tyler Durden gives.
We've all been raised on television to believe that one day we'd all be millionaires and movie gods and rock stars. But we won't. We're slowly learning that fact. We're very, very pissed off.
When I watched it at first, when I was 15, it accumulated everything that I'd ever thought came down to this one thing. Everyone's mad, and we need to do something. Not destroy the world like Tyler Durden says, but, you know. The next slide was to introduce the Nietzschean context of the article that we had to have everyone read before class. Pretty much it was pick an article less than 30 pages, and so I had them read the famous debate between Milton Friedman and Ralph Nader, where they talk about consumeristic options and being able to choose. So the second slide is the Nietzschean context of the article, broken down into slave and master morality, and then the overman. Basically, my entire ideas revolved around the overman, but the slave and morality are the steps behind it. So I did mention it, but realistically, right now in my paper, there's no mention of it whatsoever. That's okay. The next slide is Nietzsche's Overman in 3 short little bubbles of just basically what it is. And then the slide after that is the same, only in Heideggerian terms. Heidegger wrote 2 books or 4 volumes about Nietzsche, and they are just amazing. And so he adds a lot to Nietzsche's Overman that I think is just beautiful. If you ask me, Being in Time is all about the Overman, Dasein, but more specifically the authentic self. But that's to go into a little deep real quick. The next slide is what I was saying before about the whole scale between classes, how it really measures your ability to become the Overman.
God damn it, an entire generation pumping gas, waiting tables, slaves with white collars.
In my paper, I have it as your ability to become the Overman is your freedom. So all of this in one word is just your freedom. And right now, as it stands, it's just unbalanced. People in the upper class have 100% more freedom than those in the underclass, and that's just unfortunate. I think that there should be a way to fix this, and so that's what I'm writing my paper about. Ralph Nader in the article that I picked is an entire consumer advocate, and while my professor insists that I am much more on the side of Milton Friedman and that everyone should be able to pick and choose anything, I am 100% more on Ralph Nader's side that the industry makes it harder to pick anything because everything they make is their decision first. So, no, I'm not on the side of Milton Friedman whatsoever. So the next slide that I wrote was basically everything boiled down to the will to power and the authentic self and the Overman in terms of modern day consumerism, and how we should just be able to change it all. Yeah, we ought to regulate everything, which is 100% more regulation. I don't know. It might be an entire presentation built to support socialism, but I feel like why add labels to it, man? With all of the random ideas I had, the next slide is people. Everyone involved, and how the entrepreneur is going through massive barriers of different people, including an AI algorithm, which is would be an entire chapter in a book to really explain it. The next slide is capitalism, which is a competition. As I've said before a million times, we are not fans of capitalism here on this channel. So basically, the American dream is dead. We have to fix this. Very similarly to Nietzsche's, this book, Zarathustra's The God is Dead, and we need to fix it. everyone's nihilistic and apathetic and given up, and we need to fix it. So then we get to our distractors, and what makes it so everyone's so apathetic. And this, for me, includes things like the internet, TV, shopping.
Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need.
It's such a large topic. Distractions from being able to achieve your dreams. It's almost disgusting. But that's just me. The next slide is a reflection back to the scale before, and to say again that your potentiality to be the overman is your potentiality to have the American dream. They're nearly one and the same when you paint them like that. And so the last slide, I say, make the American dream possible again, as sort of a little haha to our should never have been president. But also maybe change it, because that's what Nietzsche is all about. Transforming and creating a new and ever realizing.
Man, I see in Fight Club the strongest and smartest men who've ever lived. I see all this potential, and I see squandering.
So that's where I was at. This was all of the ideas up here, pretty much out on paper. It was not easy to do. And after this, I had to dig it even further. So during the class presentation, when I showed all of those slides, it was really awesome because it seemed like people understood it. And they were like, you should read Marxism, or you are totally crazy and want to blow up the world. And I was like, you guys are so close. I think you get it. So after that is when our proposals were due. Our syllabus, it said that within 2 weeks we needed to write a proposal. No much more direction than that. From the internet though, it said that it should be roughly 500 words, 2-ish pages, wrapping up exactly what the entire paper is going to be about. Honestly, I just wrote it on the seat of my pants. After that, the first draft was due, and I had a few weeks to sit around and research and sit and study, and then I found it. I found my paper. Someone else wrote it already. I was standing in my kitchen listening to the audible of Ethics of Ambiguity by Simone de Beauvoir, and I believe it is chapter 2, section 2, but don't quote me on that. Freedom and liberation. It was everything in my paper, from scale to distractions to needing a frickin' change. De Beauvoir's word for Nietzsche's transformation in the Overman is just surpassing, and that we need to surpass and create anew, and that this would be a better appreciation for the past than anything else. And so there I was, what am I supposed to do when someone else has already written my entire paper? And then I realized exactly what Simone would have done. Surpass it. Fix it. Change it for the new. And this would be appreciation for it in itself. So the biggest part about writing the senior thesis philosophy paper, for me at least, was writing about Simone de Beauvoir ridiculously thoroughly. For each paragraph, after reading it, I would write a title of what the entire thing was about. For each then title, I would read the paragraph and then write notes. Baby over there sniffling his nose out. Until I had 8 entire pages of just the world's tiniest little notes. They look like freaking note cards for each paragraph. After that, what I did was, because all of the notes were basically jumbles of ideas, write down each one, just break it down to its barest content. Freedom as an issue. Freedom as a possibility. Oppression as unnatural. And then with these, I grouped them into 6 separate sections. Under each section title, I wrote a little excerpt about what the entire section was about, and then took all of these sections and paragraph titles, wrote them down into 5 uniquely organized pages, and then wrote what other people said about the same exact thing. What other people in my brain had been just roaming around. For example, freedom as an issue, Heidegger's being as an issue. It's naturally the same exact frickin' thing. I will say I got really nervous and I was like writing on page like 3 here, on what Nietzsche was saying about good and evil. And I'm just like, I just want to get to typing already, honestly. I'm like getting myself so excited about this. Nope. I started writing from the very beginning, just from intro to the end, but it's okay. I set myself to do it either way. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not actually finished with my senior thesis, but I thought maybe if I shared with you guys all the ways that I organized myself to do so, it would be maybe helpful for some of you guys who might be looking to do the same thing. I know 30 other kids right now who are trying to write a senior thesis, and I'm very curious how they did it, honestly. Wrapping your mind around like a bunch of ideas can be really ridiculous. But when you find someone who says the exact same thing, what are you supposed to do? So I took her advice and I did what I said earlier. So with all of that together, by using Simone de Beauvoir's Freedom and Liberation, I am going to be writing about everything that I wanted to with her outline in the way that I feel is additive to what I would not say surpass. I am way too humble to say I am surpassing Simone de Beauvoir, but in the spirit of her term surpass, that is what I'm doing. And I am truly appreciating it by not conserving it and not just keeping it as it is. You gotta create anew. Yeah. If you guys are writing some senior thesi, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. If you've gotten all the way to the end of this video, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and comment, all that jazz. And I love you!